Another good technique you can use is meditating on core affirming thoughts. You can pick a thought which feels good for you to think relative to yourself and repeat it to yourself while you're in meditation, almost like a mantra, and let yourself sink into the vibration of the words. Another good way of doing this is to record yourself saying core affirming thoughts, and then put your earphones on at night, and while you're slipping into a state of subconscious, when your brain is no longer in judgment mode, therefore more apt to receive subliminal messages, you can play this list of yourself talking to yourself with core affirming thoughts. It will amaze you how fabulous your emotions will be when you wake up in the morning after having done something like that. I want to speak to you about affirmations, because affirmations are fabulous. As we all know, affirmations are basically positive, core affirming thoughts. Affirmations are going to be different for everybody because the affirmation is relative to where you stand on the emotional scale. But there is a good and a bad side to affirmations. There is a way that you can use them appropriately and inappropriately. Many people want to jump from square one to square 10 with affirmations. So they begin with self-hating, and then they say, okay, well, the opposite of this is I love myself. But if somebody is really in the vibration of self-hate, and they say the words, I love myself, because all proof in their life has been pointing in the opposite direction, for most of us for many of years, that affirmation is a direct assault to your own personal sense of intelligence. So instead of it making you feel good, it's going to make you feel bad, because it will, instead of showing you into the vibration of self-love, it will make you more acutely aware of where you aren't. So it's really important when you're thinking of affirmations to pick the thoughts which feel good to you, which you really do line up with, meaning you really do believe. So I may not instantly be able to go into the vibration of I love myself, but I might think that I value myself because I care. That thought may feel good to me to think, and it's something that all of me lines up with. And the more you pick these better feeling and better feeling thoughts, pretty soon down the line, you can say, I love myself, and really mean it. There won't be any hesitation when you come up with that affirmation. I think the last one that I'm going to leave you with today in terms of practices is one that I used on myself in the very beginning of my healing. Water is H2O. It will always be H2O. But how those H2O molecules arrange themselves or structurize themselves changes based on what the water is around. Therefore, if you have a glass of water, or anything with water in it, which is, as you know, it's food as well, it's humans, we're 70+% water, so if you're going to drink something or eat something, my favorite is to do this with a glass of water, what you want to do is put your hands on either side of the glass and focus the vibration of true appreciation into that water. If it helps you to come up with the feeling of really loving someone that you have loved in the past, whatever thought it takes for you to generate that extreme emotion of self-love, or not self-love, that extreme emotion of love of something else, you can project that into the water. Visualize that sensation flowing through you into the glass of water. You want to hold this thought and this practice for about 2 to 3 minutes. The longer the better. And then I want you to drink the water. If you can make this a practice every day, you will literally be restructuring the water of your own body, water which has been poisoned with the thoughts of self-deprecation and criticizing and all these kinds of thoughts which you've probably been thinking, which diminish your sense of self-worth. The first time that I did this in my personal life, I was sitting in such a strong attitude of self-hate after years and years of abuse and self-torture after that, that when I drank that water, I broke down. The first 3 times I ended up on the floor breaking down because it was such a huge discordance between that vibration I was putting into my body and what I had been feeding it over years and years. But after about 3 months of doing that, I was able to come up with these core affirming thoughts for the first time, and I didn't feel guilty about saying them. So I would love you to try it, but believe me when I tell you, this can be one of the most life-changing things that you can possibly interject into your day-to-day life. It's my desire that you talk your way into your own beliefs about worth. It's my desire that those beliefs are in line with what's a benefit to you and never a limit to you. But I'm going to talk to you for a minute about worth with respect to how it is seen universally. Worth is inherent. You are an extension of Source. You are born with worth and you die with worth. All anything in this life is either an obscurer or an allower of that light which is inherently yours. The best analogy I can come up with for this is, your worth is like a light. Anything you do in your life is nothing but a showcase of that light. If it's a beneficial thing that you're doing, if it's some sort of success which you have achieved, all that is like a stained glass, which is allowing that light to express itself in beautiful ways. And anything you've done, anybody you've hurt in this life, anything that you don't feel proud of, is nothing but dirt or filament in front of that light. But the light is always there. It doesn't matter whether you're a Hitler or a Mother Teresa. At your core, you are a unique, eternal, infinite, precious, valuable, and good person. You are, in other words, an endless sea of potential, which is completely unchanging. You can't add to it and you cannot take away from it. It's interesting in this society, when we're talking about worth, that we draw some imaginary line in the sand, where suddenly a person doesn't have worth and has to justify their own existence. When you came in as a baby, you did absolutely nothing to justify your life. A baby can do nothing except for sit there. It can't do anything, and yet it is of infinite worth. It's because you are looking at its potential, but that potential never goes away. If you're looking for this arbitrary line in the sand at which now you have to justify your own worth, you're not going to find it. It doesn't exist. It's an imaginary line that we like to draw. You had as much worth and potential today as you did when you were born, and you will have as much worth and potential the day you die as you did when you were born. Your worth didn't go anywhere. You can't get rid of or lose something that's eternal. A talent is not a worth. It's not a worth in and of itself. It's an expression of worth, which is inherent in all beings, no matter how small and no matter how large, no matter how much good or evil that they've done in their life. The reality is that worth is eternal. There is no way you can get rid of it. There's no way you can even add to it. You can either showcase it or hide it. Remember that you are wonderful. You are of infinite worth, even if all you did for the rest of your life was sit in a vegetable state. You do not need to justify your life. You don't need to justify yourself or to anyone. Okay, 1 second. Ooh, this is really a difficult one to get through. You are enough. You are enough exactly as you are in this very moment and every moment. Oh, God. This subject is a relatively emotional one for me, seeing as how I struggled with self-worth so much, and I understand what can come of really finding it. When you focus towards yourself and others with an attitude of searching what to appreciate instead of what to condemn, you will come to know this worth, which is inherently yours. You will come to know joy for the first time. And this is my desire for all of you. This is my desire for all people on this earth. So good luck.